with a basic geometric shape. All of our characters do. You just start with the circle. But as you're picking up those pencils, you notice that something's missing on the ended eraser. And that's because we'll be lightly sketching out our character. Lines that we want to keep, we're going to go back and lock those lines in. That way all those other lines are going to fade away into the background. So what a rough sketch is all about is getting your ideas on that sheet of paper. So it's supposed to look loose and definitely a little messy too. Right there on this separate paper, want to create a circle. I'd say about the size of a tennis ball. Baseball is a good size. And you're sketching out your circle, make sure you using that whole entire arm when you draw, and not just your wrist. Because if you're just using your wrist, it's more like writing than it is drawing. I'm going to lightly sketch out mine up here. I promise to let you know getting to the dark and medium part, stuff we really want to keep for our baby. But for now, keep your line super light and loose. So also we're going to create lots and lots of lines in here. That's what we look for our foundation. So if you don't like one side, you can always round it out until you got it to the way that you like it. All these extra lines are really helping to create in that one shape. I'm just kind of blending my lines together so it looks like it's a circle. But within the circle, also add in a couple of construction lines. These lines are going to help us anchor down the features of the face. So I'm going to lightly sketch out one line that goes down the middle of this circle, so it's dividing it in half. And for a second construction line, divide that right across the middle, just from right to left or left to right. Alright, so this way we have our basic foundation here for our cute little baby. Now we're going to draw in his nose. So he's got kind of like a little baby button nose. Kind of looks like a little horseshoe shape as well. So right underneath where my two construction lines are meeting, I'm going to lightly sketch out a little horseshoe. Once you got it in place the way you like it, you want to go back and lock that in there for him. Now since he's a baby, he's still growing into his features. And from where his eyes are going to sit is they're going to sit right on top of our construction line on either side. That's about like halfway up towards the top part of the larger circle as well. So it's sitting right on top of the construction line, very lightly sketching out a fairly large circle here for that left eye. It's in pretty close towards my construction line too. I'll do the same thing over here on the right side. Alright, we're going to add in a smile. And when we smile, we call smile lines on the ends. He's going to get this too. So sitting right underneath his eye on either side, drawing in a small little baby rainbow shape. Just doing the same thing over on the right side. And I'll connect those two rainbows in the middle by drawing in a stretched out letter U shape. So I'm stretching this over towards my construction line and all the way back over towards the other side. Going back and locking that grid in. Also add in an open mouth smile as well. As we're hopping over back in towards the left or the right of the smile and stretching out another letter U shape. So I'm stretching this down towards the bottom part of the circle and curving that right back over towards the other side. With an open mouth, we'll also be able to see the lower lip as well. That's by drawing in another U shape right underneath our second one. So I'm adding in a little bit of a thickness to the lips. You can also break outside of that circle and it curves right back in there as well. Although with an open mouth, we'll be able to see something inside. What can we see? Yeah, his tongue. He's a baby, so he doesn't have his teeth yet. So for the tongue, drawing in a small little hill shape here at the bottom. You can also go back and shade in that mouth there for him as well to make that tongue stand out too. Yeah, the tongue, exactly. Alright, we'll give him those really big ears that he's got. He doesn't have like Dumbo size ears, but they are pretty big since he is still growing into his features here for him. And they look like letter C shapes. So right underneath my construction line on the left-hand side, I'm going to draw in a light letter C. So I'm curving that back over over towards the side of the circle. And we'll do the same thing over here on the right side. This time I'll draw in a backwards letter C. And then once you got it in place the way you like it, you can go back and really lock them in their form. So this way, if you thought lines got too big or too small, you could always resize it as you lock it in. Rough sketching is about resizing and readjusting as you lock your lines in anyway. Because your eye is going to focus way more on a darker line than it will those lighter lines. So those lighter lines, like say our original circle and those construction lines, those are the lines that are really starting to fade away throughout our drawing process. But the darker lines, like right now the bottom half of his face, those are the lines you're going to be more focused on because they're just darker their form anyway. Well, a human ear we've got lots of folds on the inside of the ear. So to give a little indication for some of those folds, here on the inside part of the ear on the right hand side, I'm drawing a candy cane shape, just curving it over towards the side. And I'll draw in a little bit backwards C shape, curving it in towards the inside there. So it looks like an upside down letter Y. I'll do the same thing over here on the left side. So drawing in a candy cane shape that curves over towards the ear. Here you're getting into those baby jack noises. And just adding in a letter C and curving that over towards the side. With the ears locked in, we can also go back and lock in the bottom half of his face from the ears down towards the chin there. Alright, with that in place, we'll go back and lock in those eyes. Though with him having this big smile, his smile is also pushing right underneath his eye as well. So I'm going to draw in a small little rainbow shape at the bottom of the eye. So I'm cutting off a little piece of the circle at the bottom. And I'll go back and really picking out my favorite lines to lock those eyes into place. The Pizza Planet truck has been featured in every single Pixar film except for one. Does anybody want to take a guess of what film I might be talking about? Yeah, The Incredibles, exactly. It is not in The Incredibles. Hopefully it's in The Incredibles too, but that's the only film that it's not featured in. Alright, but we'll give him some pupils. And for the pupils, you can place them anywhere inside those eyes you want. So you can have him thinking, looking at your neighbor, a little googly-eyed, or even have lasers shooting out of it, because he can do that. But I'll have him look straight ahead, and that's by placing the pupils down on the inside corners. So you want to make sure that they're round, because if they're half circles or half ovals, you can end up looking a little cross-eyed. So in order to avoid that, you want them to look straight ahead. Make sure that they're round down in the corners. If you want to get a little fancier with the pupils, that's by drawing in a smaller circle up at the top and going back and shading all around it to give the eyes a bit of a light source. But making sure that the eyes are standing out nice and dark. That's why I want all that attention and focus is to go to there first before you really look at anything else. We'll also go back and lock in the top part of his head. So I'm going to go back and really picking out my favorite circle line at the top and locking it in from ear to ear. If it helps it out all, you can definitely turn that board that's on your lap as well. Because artists have these black discs, like I have here on the desk, so I can turn it and move it so I don't get those awkward arm movements. So you definitely use that board that's on your lap to your advantage. Really whatever feels more comfortable to you as the artist. But we're missing something at the top of his head, right? What are we missing? Yeah, his little hairdo that he's got kind of looks like a flame on a candle, because he can even turn into flame too. But I'm going to start over here on the side of his head. I'm going to get thinner as I get back over towards my construction line. So you can even extend out that construction line outside of the circle to help to create in the flame. So I'm going to start here on the side of the head. I'm just going to get skinnier as I get in towards the middle there for him. And I'll do the same thing over here on the right side. So you can even start from the top and getting wider down at the bottom. You can even create like a little flame up at the top there for him too. You can also add in some little lines down here on the hair here as well to show that it is hair and it's not just like a little mountain peak at the top of his head. You can even keep baby Jack Jack just the way he is, or you can also add in a mask so he can disguise his identity. So to create in that mask, in between his eyes, I'm going to draw in a letter U shape. And from that letter U shape, I'm going to curve this right around his eye and right back over towards my construction line there on the left-hand side. So you're getting this big stretched out letter M, or you can also think of it as like a wave shape here too. And at the bottom, I'm going to curve that right back up towards the top of the nose. So drawing in a letter U shape, just going around the nose there. I'll do the same thing over here on the left side. You can also go back and shade the mask in too. And if you use the side of the pencil, it's going to help to give you a nice even tone. And you won't get those little scratchy marks there for him either. You can also control your shading that way as well. Because if you press a little harder, it'll also give you a darker tone, or really just a darker shade there for you as well. You can also go back and really darken up any of those lines that maybe might fade away throughout our drawing process here for him. But the last step an artist really needs to make is the signature. And you can sign your name wherever you feel it fits best. But after all done, you have just sketched out your very own little baby Jack Jack. All right, so how did we all do? Pretty good? Did we have fun? Yeah, that's the most important part about drawing is having fun with